So it's comforting because we have that.
I think that also not to overlook the fact that Regina is cured, but cured by a charlatan. Cured by someone who
good. Now, okay. Now let's look at this. This is maybe a little bit of a conservative element. What is going on with this Vetter Leonhard? Okay, Vetter Leonhard.
The whole incident of this girl being so sick and he being totally.
Regina Maria.
Yeah. Why is she there?
Okay. So we have four kids, and we have Armin, the Keruska is the dog, okay? And the dogs have also funny names. Armin. Armin is the dog, and we have four daughters, Julia, Regina, Rosa, and Magda. And they all, it's interesting, they all have very different personalities. And in fact, Magda decides to remain in school and to finish school. And Rosa decides to have the baby. And Julia is okay with the dog having failed. And Regina is getting better. It's actually, some of it is very funny, and it's very well observed. So Regina is very sick, and he sort of is completely disconnected from that. It's Anna who's doing that. You know, Anna and Magdalena and Regina Maria, we belong together. We are in a Catholic country here. And we are very close to the Birnau. You have to look, okay, when you go home, okay, I want you to Google Lake of Constance, and I want you to Google the word B-I-R-N-A-U, B-I-R-N-A-U, because you will need it for world to come. Okay, it's a Baroque church. It's painted pink, and it is built on its own hill, and it is right at the lake. There's a lake, there's a train that goes along the lake, and then there's a steep vineyard, and on top of the vineyard is this absolutely gorgeous, huge Baroque church. It is described very often here, actually, quite beautifully. As he swims out into the lake, he can see this Baroque church, and that's a church, a Wallfahrtskirche. People go there as pilgrims. You will need the idea of the pilgrimage for when you read World to Come, and it's dedicated to Mary. And he lives in the shadow of that church. And it's also, Birnau is almost like your protected, your patron, your Schutzengel, your patron saint of that novel. Everything takes place in the shadow of the Birnau. And what's interesting about this church, it is also built for show, because as you know, it's like in Judaism, the altars are always pointing to the east, should be pointing to the east, but that's not possible. If you had situated the church right, it would have been a slant. So they built it with the facade fronting the lake. So this Birnau looks like a crown on top of a vineyard. It's smashing. There is physical beauty, addictive physical beauty in that area, which sort of enters this novel in these extraordinary descriptions, short descriptions of landscape. And it's very clear that Gottlieb too is addicted in a very physical way to this landscape, because he says he doesn't understand how people can buy anything other than Grund und Boden. One has to have something. And you can now read this as political conservative. You know, here you have political conservatism. What do you want? You want property. But you can feel that if you were to do this, and if you were to think of Zürn as someone, as one of the critics writers, who sees the sense of life, the meaning of life, the Sinn des Lebens in money, it's not right. He says at some point, if I had money, wenn ich Geld hätte, wäre ich von der Peitsche befreit, von der Stoppuhr befreit. He says money would liberate him from the stop clock, and it would liberate him from the whip. But ultimately what he's saying is, it's not that he wants the money. He wants to be free. And he realizes that there's only one thing that makes you free. And it's exactly the same that Lessing realized too. And it's precisely the same that Walser realized. It is, when you have property, you are truly free. And as long as you don't have property, you have to be someone's slave. Thomas thought the same thing. And I think every writer who has to make something out of nothing and sits there and says, I'm in the same situation, how am I going to sell to, the paying public? But so I'm liberated from the profit motive because this is for free. But if you write a book, you want readers and you want to sell it and you want a publisher, and you are always negotiating between what you want to write and what you can't write, between what you want to say and what you can't say. And that's why you have this marker here. Okay, we're finishing now. Out in front we have stacks of the